The land rat. You don't wake up one day and decide to become a pirate. No, it's usually a series of very questionable life decisions. Maybe you quit your job. Maybe you got fired. Maybe your boss said circle back one too many times and something inside you just snapped. Next thing you know, you're standing at a dock. It's loud. It's messy. It smells like fish that gave up on life 3 days ago. And you're looking around like, yeah, this seems like a reasonable career change. You expected adventure, wind in your hair, freedom, epic music playing in the background. Instead, a man with 3 teeth bumps into you, steals your coin purse, and calls you fresh meat like you're a menu item. You don't even react, because deep down, you don't know what's going on. There are ships everywhere, big ones, small ones, suspicious ones, and every single person here looks like they have either a criminal record, a tragic backstory, or both. You try to act confident. You fail immediately. You walk like someone who just Googled how to be a pirate 5 minutes ago. A seagull stares at you, not a normal stare, a judgmental one, like it knows you don't belong here. It steals your food. You let it, because honestly, it earned it. That's the moment it hits you. You are not built for this. But it's too late now, because somewhere deep inside your brain, a voice says, stay. Getting a ship is the next step. Simple, right? Wrong. Ships cost money. You have none. So you do what any rational future pirate would do. You commit your first crime. You sneak onto someone else's ship. Very poorly. You wait until nightfall. You crouch behind crates like you're in a stealth game with 0 experience. You whisper to yourself, okay, this is easy. It is not easy. You trip over a rope. You freeze. Nobody notices. You whisper again, still smooth. You find a barrel. You climb inside. And that's when your entire life flashes before your eyes. Because barrels are not comfortable. You thought it would be like hiding. It's not hiding. It's suffering in a circle. Time passes, slowly, painfully. You can't move. Your legs go numb. Your back is screaming. You start questioning reality. At some point, you think, what if I just stay here forever? You won't, because eventually the barrel opens. A pirate stares at you. You stare back. Silence. You say, hello? Bold choice. He doesn't respond. He just yells, Captain, we got a human in the food. You get dragged out like a sack of bad decisions. The crew gathers around. They look at you the way people look at something they're not sure is edible. There's a debate, a loud one. Throw him overboard. No, make him useful. Or, we keep him, he looks funny. You don't defend yourself because you don't have a defense. And somehow, you don't die. Instead, the captain looks at you and says, congratulations. You feel hope. He continues, you work now. Hope gone. This is where reality sets in. Hard. You thought piracy meant adventure. What you got instead is chores. Endless chores. You wake up before the sun, not because you want to, because someone kicks you awake. Move. That's your alarm clock now. You clean things you don't want explained. You scrub floors that somehow get dirty instantly. You carry buckets. You spill the buckets. You get yelled at for spilling the buckets. You try again. You spill again. At this point, it feels personal. There's always someone yelling your name, or what they think your name is, or just yelling in your general direction. You've become the default blame. Something breaks? Your fault. Food missing? Your fault. Storm hits the ship? Also somehow your fault. You try to defend yourself once. Big mistake, because now everyone knows you talk back. And that's a personality trait you can't afford. You learn quickly. Silence equals survival. You sleep in a corner that barely qualifies as space, next to a guy who snores like he's summoning demons. Another guy talks in his sleep. He keeps saying, the bananas are watching. You don't ask questions. You don't want answers. Days blend together. You're tired. You're sore. You smell like the ocean, but not in a poetic way. In a this might be permanent way. And yet, you're still here. Still alive. Still adapting. And that's when it starts to shift. The first fight. It doesn't feel like a big moment. There's no dramatic buildup, no speech, just chaos. Another ship appears. Everyone gets loud. Very loud. You don't know what's happening, but you pretend you do. Someone throws you a weapon. You catch it, barely. You look at it like, what is this and why is it my responsibility? Before you can process anything, you're in it. People yelling, swords clashing, someone swinging from a rope for absolutely no reason. You panic, naturally. You swing your weapon, you miss, you almost hit your own teammate. He gives you a look that says, do that again and I will personally end you. You nod, respectfully. Then you lock eyes with an enemy pirate. He looks just as confused as you. There's a pause, a mutual understanding. Neither of you are qualified for this. You both do that awkward fake fight thing, clashing weapons gently. Like, yeah, we're definitely fighting right now. Very convincing. At some point, it ends. You don't know how, you don't know why, but you're still standing, breathing, alive. And for the first time, you feel different. Not confident, but less terrified, which in your situation is a massive upgrade. The becoming. This part sneaks up on you. One day, you wake up and things just feel easier. You're not slipping every 5 seconds. You're not getting yelled at every minute. Well, less. You move with purpose now. Fake purpose, but still. You've learned things. How to stand without looking lost. How to carry things without dropping them, most of the time. How to look busy when you're not. Very important skill. You get your own weapon. Not borrowed, not handed down. Yours. You hold it like it matters, because it does. People start recognizing you. Not in a, wow, you're amazing way. More like, oh, you're still alive. Which honestly feels like praise. You even start talking like them. You say things like, keep your eyes sharp. You don't know what it means, but it sounds right. You laugh louder. You nod slower. You stare longer. It's all part of the act. And the crazy part, the act starts becoming real. You're not pretending anymore. You're changing. You're changing. The reputation. Now this is where it gets interesting, because suddenly people know you. You've got a name now. Not your real name, that's gone. This one is earned. Something like Hook, or Scar, or that guy who somehow survived everything. You walk differently, slower, controlled, like you're thinking 5 steps ahead. You're not, but nobody knows that. New crew members look at you the way you used to look at others. Confused, cautious, a little scared. You almost laugh. Almost. You give advice now. Bad advice, but confident advice. Trust no one. You literally trust everyone, but it sounds good. You've mastered the illusion, the presence, the vibe. You don't need to prove yourself anymore. Your survival already did that. And deep down, you realize something wild. You're not the weakest anymore. Not even close. The shift. Power doesn't arrive with an announcement. It just happens. The captain starts listening to you just a little, then a bit more. Then, suddenly, people are waiting for your opinion. You don't remember applying for this, but here you are. You start making decisions, small ones at first, then bigger ones. You realize leadership is just guessing, but confidently. You form alliances, temporary, strategic. You understand the unspoken rules now. Who matters, who pretends to matter, who to avoid completely. You're no longer reacting, you're anticipating. And that's dangerous, because now you're climbing. The crown. It happens fast, too fast. A disagreement, a fight, a moment, and suddenly you're the captain. No ceremony, no warning, just responsibility dropped on your head like a bad decision. Everyone looks at you, waiting. You clear your throat. Right, so nothing prepared you for this, but you step into it anyway, because what's the alternative? You lead, messily, imperfectly, but you lead, and somehow it works. The weight. Here's the part nobody tells you. Being at the top is exhausting. You don't relax. You can't. Every decision matters. Every mistake costs. People watch you now, not with fear, with calculation. The same way you once looked at others. You hear whispers. You notice looks. You recognize ambition. And for the first time in a long time, you feel it. Pressure. Because now you understand. This position is temporary. The legend. Or the end. Time passes. You've lived it all. The chaos, the rise, the madness. Your name becomes a story, then a myth, then something bigger. And one day, you stand at the edge of your ship, looking at the ocean, quiet, for once. And you think, was it worth it? You smile, because honestly, you don't even know. But you made it, from nothing to something, from nobody to legend. And just as you start to enjoy the moment, Captain, ship approaching. You sigh, grab your weapon, and say, all right, because some things never change. If you made it this far, you survived piracy. Be honest, what level are you? And more importantly, would you have even made it out of the barrel?